Well, good morning. I got with me a glass of OJ and nothing else because I don't eat breakfast. It's very early on a Saturday, well, moderately early on a Saturday morning. And I thought to myself, hey, why don't I do a live stream? It's been like 10 years since the last time I posted anything. Yeah, sorry. How are you all doing? It is early, 2 a.m. here. 2 a.m. is not early, mate, it's late. I love how everybody assumes that, like, I was in some sort of traumatic car crash, and that's the reason why I haven't posted anything. Every time I stream, I lose subscribers, by the way. Every time I post a video, I lose subscribers. It's almost not even worth it. At least if the motivation is purely to gain subscribers. For whatever reason, YouTube feels the need to just delete people from the channel whenever something new gets put up. Now in terms of any videos, I'm just gonna say right now, I got nothing at the minute. Like, in the pipeline. I got nothing. I just got no ideas. There's nothing I'm particularly interested in discussing with regards to the video game industry right now. Review Tech USA complains about losing subscribers every time he streams too. Well, I mean, it is a little bit annoying to know that when you do something, it's gonna cost you for no reason at all, besides the fact that YouTube is a broken platform. But yes, in terms of videos, I'm just, there's nothing that I'm particularly interested in. I mean, it's kind of that time of month, well, that time of year rather, where there's not really a whole lot going on. And even if I tried, you know, like, even if I tried to find something, it would be a stretch. It wouldn't be something that I think is particularly worthwhile to talk about. And it might just be that I'd rather be doing other things for the time being. You know, maybe the time will come when I can find something to talk about or figure out a format that I would like again. As much as I am fairly proud of the reviews, they take a long time, and I'm not sure that I've got that much time, or at least, you know, it would take a couple of months to make one video. Perhaps a review of a game. Your reviews are very beefy and very enjoyable. I'm glad you like them, but yes, they are very beefy. They take a long time to make. Basically, my goal that I sort of set out on early last year was that if I was going to post something to the channel, it was going to be something that was really good and that I could look back on more than just a couple of months and still be kind of proud of. I am my own worst critic, and that has been the killer of several videos that have just never seen the light of day, because I would work on them and partway through I think it sucks and I quit. And then that's that, and that's wasted time. I've also been trying to work on other things. I've been trying to practice drawing more often, like trying to do something today, and I'm always constantly sure that I'm terrible, but then I will consult old sketchbooks, and then it makes me feel a lot better, because there has been a noticeable improvement over those old shitty sketches. My god, they're terrible. But then, of course, the issue is that you go on the internet and you look at what other people can do, and it, you know, I mean, my wallpaper is the Super Smash Brothers box art, which is so freaking good. So I got something displayed right in front of me that just reminds me of a level of quality that I'm nowhere near yet. Have you heard of the whole Activision making Spyro 2 and 3 digital downloads only? Yeah. I did read about that. People, this is not new. I mean, I dislike it, don't get me wrong, but I'm surprised that it's taken this long for people to... Does nobody remember that they did the same thing for the Master Chief Collection? For Halo the Master Chief Collection, you had to download multiplayer because... I mean, what we know now... I mean, initially what we thought was, oh, well... it's too big for the disc, you know, like 45 gigabytes is, I think that's about the capacity of a Blu-ray disc. Of course, you could add a second disc, or do, I think it's called triple buffing, but that was the assumption. Then it came out, and we found out that, no, it was because the multiplayer, it wasn't ready, and it didn't work. So, in this instance, it also leads me to believe that Spyro 2 and 3 are not going to be ready by the time it comes out. And, of course, in that instance, you should just delay it. You should just delay the game. I don't mind waiting a couple extra months. I much rather would own the disc and know that when eventually, when the servers shut down and when I can't download updates for my PS4, you know, in 20 years' time, I'll still have something that I can fucking use. AAA Blu-ray can fit 100. Yeah, if that's the case, then there's no excuses there. There are theories that Activision are only doing the whole digital download thing to hurt used game sales. Yeah, that might be a possibility. I mean, I kind of have expressed in the past that I'm not entirely against DRM to prevent used game downloads because used games hurt the video game industry. You shouldn't buy used games if you actually want the industry to continue existing. Video games are not like any other product that you buy. It's a service. If it has multiplayer, it's a service. And you can't then say, well, I bought the game. If you buy the game used, then none of that money's going to the developer. Now, of course, I don't think you should straight up butcher your game and sell me 1/3 of it, and then ask me to download the rest of it to prevent that. But I'm not entirely against trying to prevent used games. I don't buy used games because they're bad for the industry. Well, I mean, why do you think everybody wants to go digital? Digital, you cut out retailers, and you basically get way more profits than you would by selling the disc in a store. I think that a retail disc, you know, in America for $60, I think the developers get maybe $7 or $8. The retailer gets about 20 or 30%. The publisher, not the publisher, the console manufacturer, so Sony, Microsoft, they get about 20%. Then you got like shipping and handling, manufacturing. Of course you'd want to go digital. You get like 60-70% of your game sales.
I love you.
The money already went to the developer via the original purchase. But it should be 2. You see what I mean? It should be 2 games. If I buy the game and then sell it to somebody else, 2 people have owned the game, but then only one person, like only one sale has gone to the developer. I mean, that's not good. I think it's important to realize that while I would agree with this in maybe like 1996 when games didn't really have multiplayer components, now there is a cost that continues after the game is out. Now with single player games, I'm a little bit different on that. I think that there's a little bit more room for discussion, but with multiplayer, we're talking about games that have to maintain servers and have people constantly working on them with patches and updates. I'm just reading what people are saying. For this stream, I'm undecided on what I'd like to do. I think it'd be worthwhile to do some drawing. I might play No Man's Sky. I feel like drawing would be more productive though, so I'm kind of leaning towards that. So you buy a third of the game and play single player or something and buy multiplayer separately. I'm not sure that that's a good idea. I would prefer it if I could just pay one amount and that's it forever. How's the new No Man's Sky update? Well, the issue for me is that it's hard for me to judge because I didn't play it when it came out. I only watched and sort of... I kind of expected... Initially, I was excited for the game, but as it drew closer and closer, I became way more skeptical about whether or not it would even be anything. So I didn't buy it. But now I have bought it. But the issue is that this is my first impressions. I didn't play it before. It's not perfect. I wouldn't even say if it's great, honestly, because, I mean, it's still not, like... I like it, though. I do like it, but, yeah, it still needs some work. There is a certain inherent appeal, though, to the concept of just flying out to space and going to different planets. I mean, if you're someone like me who just loves science fiction, and space in particular, then, you know, it's pretty cool. So, Fringy, in terms of used games, what if it's a game from the 360 PS3 Wii era? Does your opinion change in that regard, or do you think it still hurts the industry? Well, let's put it this way. After about 4 or 5 years, even maybe 3 years, like, you know, they're not really counting on any more new sales at that point, so it doesn't matter. And by that, I mean, if I wanted to sell my copy of Super Smash Bros. Brawl, I'm sure Nintendo wouldn't be particularly fussed about it. But, if I wanted to sell, like, Octopath Traveler or something, if I don't have it yet, I'm tempted. But if I owned it, and then I sold it to somebody else, that's a lost sale, because it just came out. And of course, one way to prevent used game sales is to make a game that people don't want to trade in. I mean, that's always an option, but that's not really, I mean, how do you do that? What if you make, like, one of these single-player games, you know? What's your opinion on the 3DS as a console? I like it, but I guess it's not really, I guess it's kind of on the way out now, isn't it? I mean, I figured that Nintendo's going to stop focusing on it. I would prefer them to just focus entirely on the Switch, because I own one and I would like to have games on it. But the Switch is doing very well. I'm surprised that people aren't giving Nintendo as much credit as they deserve. You know, I think we found out recently that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has sold 10 million plus copies. There is not a single PlayStation or Microsoft game that's going to sell more than 10 million copies. This is what I mean when I talk about the strength of Nintendo's IPs. They're the only ones Like, the only game that I could compare to the strength in terms of sales of Nintendo IPs was Halo. And that's was, because it's not the case anymore. You know, Halo 3 Reach and stuff, they sold over 10 million copies. Or maybe it was just Halo 3. But there's nothing else I can think of that rivals the the sales of Nintendo games. Because you look at the Switch, if they've sold about 20 million units, which, I mean, that's more than the Wii U sold in 5 years, but if they've sold that many units, and you've got like 10 million people or 12 million people who own Super Mario Odyssey, that's pretty impressive. Even though it's dead now, what do you think of the PS Vita? I think the PS Vita was a really cool console that just never managed to catch on. It's a cool console. I mean, in terms of its hardware, it's awesome. But it just needed those games right at the start. I own a Vita, and I like it, but I have not touched it in a while. Just, there's not enough games. I mean, there are games, but, yeah, it's just kind of a shame. It's 1:10 in the morning. I'm about to catch a flight for the first time. Any tips? Don't shout Allahu Akbar in the airport line, and then you'll be alright. Vita had potential, but apparently it was hard to develop on, as well as having to compete with Nintendo for portables. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the thing, isn't it? Nintendo's always dominated the portable landscape. I mean, the Switch was the next logical step for them. Especially now that portable hardware is getting powerful enough to run games of console and PC quality. I know Fritanga disagrees with me on that, but I would say that it's a capable console to run those types of games. The Switch recently sold over 20 million units. Nintendo is doing unexpectedly great. Yeah, I know, you can say that again. Do you think exclusive games are anti-consumer? This is a subject, isn't it? Now, I know a few people who think that they are anti-consumer, and that they shouldn't be in the industry. I am not set on that. I think that exclusives are just necessary because otherwise there's no point in buying any one console over the other. And exclusivity is not an uncommon thing it's not an uncommon thing in terms of just general selling of platforms. You know, nobody is talking about how Netflix making BoJack Horseman and only having it on Netflix is anti-consumer, because it's literally not. That's the whole point. They make things that make you want to buy into their platform. It's the reason why Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, they all have their own shows. Because that's how you get people to buy your thing, by giving them something that they can't get anywhere else. In the video game industry, that's exclusive games, and that's perfectly fine. And that's perfectly fine, if you ask me. I mean, what would the solution be? What is the alternative option for these guys? What are they supposed to do? Is Sony supposed to release the games that they spent money to develop on competing platforms? Why would they undercut their own sales? As a business, there is no justifiable reason to not have exclusive games if you want to sell your console. You would have to be absolutely mental not to do that. And that's the reason why I can't argue that they're anti-consumer. Because that's the only way that you can sell these platforms. Like, seriously, who's gonna tell me that Sony, who owns Naughty Dog, and who pays for the production of Uncharted 4, should then spend additional resources putting it to the Xbox One? And like I said, I know that Barry and Fritanga disagree with me. I'm not sure what Rags' opinion on it is. I don't think I've ever asked him about it, but I know that Barry and Fratanga disagree on this subject. But I very much believe that you need exclusives for these consoles to exist. Even the Switch, which is not an equivalent to my PC, I wouldn't own if it didn't have Nintendo games. Wouldn't they make more money porting it though? Right, okay, so here's where you're starting to... Here's where the disconnect is. The game itself would make more money if it was ported to other platforms, because it has a broader audience to sell to. But the point of the console is to get people to buy into the platform, and by doing that, you're increasing revenue overall, because every time a game, any game, not just a Microsoft game, not just a Sony game, but any game that sells on that system, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, they get a cut. That's how the console survives. Not off of their games, but off of people buying third-party games for their system. The whole point of the exclusives is to get people to buy the system. What about exclusive third-party games? No, I don't like those. Because you're just paying to not release it on something else, as opposed to a first-party game, which is a game that you have financed, that your teams are developing. You see, I would say that there's a distinction to be drawn there. Yeah, Bayonetta is a third-party exclusive. Kind of. I mean, like... I suppose the issue there is that, yeah, Bayonetta wouldn't exist now if it wasn't for that. You know what I mean? Like, Nintendo basically saved that franchise. Now, look, I'm not gonna say that I like the fact that, you know, there are games that people can't buy without buying a system. You know, I don't like having to spend $500 on an Xbox One to only end up playing 4 games on it. I don't like that. But I'm not really surprised that that's how the industry works, because it just makes sense. What about Spider-Man on PS4? Well, even though that's a Marvel property, Spider-Man is being published by Sony. Would you call Ratchet and Clank a third-party exclusive? Because you gotta remember, Insomniac is an independent studio. So are we gonna try and argue that Ratchet and Clank should be on every platform now? I don't like timed exclusives though. I can't stand the timed exclusive thing. I definitely dislike that, and I think that's anti-consumer outright. Thoughts on Red Dead Redemption 2? What much is there to say? I'm looking forward to it, but we still haven't seen that much. I guess we still gotta wait to find out more. Yeah, I'm gonna start trying to draw something. Hold on to your butts. This is gonna be productive. What you just heard there was me setting this thing up. I probably need to get some music here too, but then I'm gonna get copyright claims. So, I've been watching that channel. I cannot pronounce it. Kurzgesagt. That's probably not right. I did German in school. I should know this. You know, that in a nutshell, I think it is. The channel that makes all those like really cool science and like existentialist videos. There was a song in one of their videos that I really like. I think I might do that one. Hold on, let me just double check. No, all my stuff is right. Alright, there's the display. Just seize the means of game development, comrade. God. Actually, I don't know how to adjust volume in SoundCloud. Oh, yeah, I'm an idiot. There we go. Yeah. I really like this song, so I might play this one. I have very strange taste in music. Alright. I'm not sure what to do. Samus is always a common default one, so I might try something different today. Or I might just start with some warm-ups. Do you think it was a bad move for Microsoft to put their games on Windows 10? I don't know. It's hard to tell. I'm not sure how committed they are to the Xbox as a console, but they might just be trying to make it more of a platform, I guess. How was your trip to the UK? Yeah, it was great. Saw a lot. You got a lot of history over there, by comparison to here, where it goes back about like 200 years, basically. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, apologize for the coughing. Fringy, did you hear about the quartering getting assaulted at Gen Con? I think I heard of it. I heard about it, but I'm not sure what the situation is. I've not been paying much attention to the whole political thing because it just gets tiring. Dude, I can't. I don't know. I don't know what I want to draw. Draw Cuphead. No, I'm trying to get better at drawing like people. You know, people characters. I might just start by doing just trying to practice just gestures, because that seems to be an important one, doesn't it? I'm meant to be using the blue pen, whatever. What do I want this person to be doing? Oh, well, actually, I got a few poses in front of me because I got the Smash wallpaper, so I might try a few of those. I know it's not particularly engaging, but that's what the practice is for, isn't it? Actually, I might narrow that off a bit. The Skeptosphere kind of went dark after all those blood sports half a year ago. I'm not talking about the whole skeptic thing. I mean, that's whatever. I'm more talking about just the general political landscape. I've been feeling far better in general by just completely ignoring it. Xbox should compete with Steam too, not just the console market. Well, I think that's what they're trying to do, but the issue is that their service is so god awful. We can pretend like that one's being foreshortened, and then have them. I don't often practice. What I've been trying to do recently is try and practice doing like poses to get a little bit better at that, because that's kind of where I'm a bit deficient. You can get away with a lot worse images if you get better at posing, I think. I mean, I might be wrong there, but that's how I feel anyway, because I've seen some kind of like not so good art that ends up looking alright just because the posing is decent. I'm starting to get confused by all the noise in this one. This is just meant to be a pose though, so I'm not really trying to be too accurate at the minute. Or too detailed, rather. I'm trying to be quick. And the main thing is to just get the... I don't know why I'm giving advice. Like, I'm really not in the position to be giving advice on how to draw. But I feel like it's just about getting the detail... Not the detail, it's just trying to get the actual, you know, the essence of the image down. No, that's not right. His thing should be like that. I mean, that's not right, but that's... I know you aren't a fan of most of your work 2015 and before, but what did you think of your reviewing series pre-101? Well, I don't like it. That's what it comes down to. I dislike the majority of my work because that's how I am. I find it difficult to extract any like entertainment from it, even if I'm and that applies to a lot of things really, because even like the stuff I'm working on now, like my book, I'm basically restarting because I just got so disappointed with it. And like I said, you know, I got to about 60,000 words in, but I was just so not happy with it that I wanted to restart. Now, admittedly, in this case, it's because it wasn't actually very good, but, you know, it's like, you know, it's not a particularly valuable use of time to just work on something for a year and then say, no, it's not good enough, and then delete it. I'm just trying... Fuck, no. No, I've drawn that completely straight on. I'm not sure if I want to do that. I'm trying to... I've been looking at Spider-Man poses in particular, because I think that they're pretty good for doing this sort of thing. I like how I've lost a whole bunch of people now just because I've been doing this. Okay, there we go. That's a little bit better. I need to stop starting with the central line and trying to... I need to start more with that one, because that one helps define your angles. Okay, I want his shoulder up here somewhere, so we'll start with that. And maybe have his arm taper off this way. Well, that song's finished, now I gotta find something else. I've been listening to the Transistor soundtrack, that's pretty good, let's put that on. And Cats are still very active doing videos in the skeptic reaction format. Oh boy. Have you heard of desktop as a service where you have to pay monthly for your OS? That sounds pretty awful, I gotta say. And just so that I got it clear, we'll pretend like his head is pointed up this way. Appa Ben sent us. Oh. Is that what's happening now? Right. I heard that he was streaming, so that would explain a lot. Because now all of a sudden I've got like 40 new people watching. Well, thanks for that, Appa. No, that's not right. That's stupid. There we go. Have you ever wrestled a kangaroo? No. Fucking wrestled a kangaroo. I'm screwing up on the bottom half here. I had a good idea for the top half, but I'm starting to lose, like, the essence of what I was trying to get with this rough. Damn it. Why people gotten away from the rants? Because it's like, it doesn't put you in a good mood, man. Like, seriously, like, for me, one of my biggest issues has always been trying to be in a good mood. What software are you using? Sketchbook Pro. I think it's free now, but even before it was like 30 bucks, which isn't really bad at all. Alright, well, I'm because I've lost the plot, I'm now changing the entire what I was going for with this one. Which I've been trying to avoid doing because it's, you know, it's not how you practice. That's not gonna work. That's gonna look freaking stupid. That's gonna look ridiculous. Half of them are already gone. Yeah, it's because there's nothing going on here except for this. And also, like, in terms of just content, my interests have sort of just changed. I mean, maybe they haven't changed. I think I've always wanted to be a little bit more creative. Like, I used to want to be a director. And I always wanted to do writing. It's just now I'm trying to act on it. I've been looking at pecs too and how they're supposed to be. Pecs are meant to be a lot higher up than I thought. Would you like a video game centered around the Great Emu War? I'm glad you brought that up because I had the idea of writing like a short story about like a hypothetical second Emu War that's like a real war. Where the emus like invade Sydney or something. And then you got like these soldiers talking about, you know, all this cliche sort of military thing. Like, you know, get out of here! Well, not in an American accent. You know, get out of here, lads. That's an order. Or something. It's so stupid. And then emus like lurch forward and like punch through them and rip their chests and their hearts out. Will Cynical Den podcast ever make a return? I want to do a new podcast. I got plans for at the end of this year or early next year. Maybe even earlier than that, as in like maybe closer than now, but it depends on how things are going. Oh, hey Rex, how you doing? The Australian General, the emus, they're here. Why am I doing? I've been doing this stupid American accent, the Australian. Has anybody else tried to debate you and ultimately passed out? Pussied out? I haven't tried to organise any debates. I like debates, but yeah, I've not really been particularly controversial as of late. So I've never really been controversial, like really, you know. I have been paying attention to stuff that's been happening on Twitter. People have been getting into lots of arguments on Twitter. That one actually turned out better than I thought it would. I mean, it's not great, but it's yeah, that's something. Fringy, your accent is so sexy. You know, I live here, so it's just normal. Maybe I need to go to a different country. Did you get to see the Train Wheel Rep and Wheel podcast with Fratanga? I didn't. I've heard about it on Twitter. I've heard about it loads on Twitter, but... Those legs, though, that means there's something wrong with them, isn't it? There's something that I'm not seeing. One thing I keep getting told as well is that when you draw on the side of the head, there should be like these circles here because the side of the head goes flat. Let's draw a lady. I'll move these ones up a little bit just to give me a little bit more room. Oh, I got even people in the audience lobby on our Discord. I forgot that was there. Have you ever played any of the Mega Man games? I haven't actually. I've never played Mega Man. Oh, I remember this song. This is from one of the earlier boss fights. It's a great song. I just lost my smoothing. I wish it was... It's not a very good... Yeah, I might post the link to the Discord server in the chat. I don't like to make it public because then it's just like I can't control the flow of people who come into it. Yeah, here's the Discord server if you want to join. Dude, honestly, I don't normally listen to songs like this. Uh-oh. Video output's low. There's always Frag's Discord server. You shouldn't be promoting yourself. This is my thing. Like I said, this isn't normally the kind of music that I would listen to, actually. I'm just generally into sort of orchestral sort of stuff. And then every time this string cuts out, I end up losing a bunch of people. I haven't figured out the angle yet. Crap. I should have done that first. It is back up now, isn't it? Don't tell me I'm talking to no one here. Shit. Let's have you, like, sitting on a rooftop or something. Let's say that this is me trying to set the scene for this one. Well, if you were sitting like that, you would be falling off and dead. So we gotta put you there. You need more furries on your streams. Yeah, well, I'm doing a podcast tomorrow with Dishonored Wolf. I'm sure Rags will be on that as well. So that's two for four, I assume, because Morlo. I feel like I've fucked up something here. Like it's not, like there's something here that's not right. This doggo, this doggo hears you. I probably should have drawn the tits first. Now I'm a little bit confused as to where I want to place them. That's too low. That's too low. Oh, there's the fucking... And that's... They're not even. I haven't drawn them evenly. Damn it. Yeah, sorry, it just keeps cutting out. After I do this one, I'll try and maybe work on a prop. Now, I'm not sure what I've done here, but there's something here that's not working properly, or at least not how I'd like. If someone doesn't own a Windows 10 device, let's say they own a Mac. Oh, I've lost track. Sorry, I trailed off there. I try to do these to remind me that I'm supposed to be foreshortening here. But... Alright. Now let's see if this is anything. If this ends up being anything. Sorry, I've gone all quiet. Ask me a question if you got one, and I'll try my best to answer it. It's not great, but that's practice there. While I set up the next one, I'll try and answer some questions. What drawing tablet do you use, if any? It's called like the Uggy HK1560, I think. It's a 16-inch drawing display. It was very cheap, and that's why I did it. You do not spell gesture with a J, you idiot. 4, 8, 2018. Oh yeah, it would be a fake, because that actually makes sense now that I think about it, because it's not verified. There's no tick. Let me find another. What have I been listening to lately? I mean, I'll need to consult. I was listening to the Mission Impossible Fallout soundtrack, but I don't think I want to play that because it'll probably get the strike on the channel. That was a good score though, seriously, and a great movie. I know that YMS doesn't like it, but I enjoyed it. Too lately. I feel like if I just default onto Halo, that's that's too expected. Because every time I do a live stream, I end up defaulting back to Halo. I'm just reading, there's all these fakes. It's just funny. It looked like the stream was going to cut off. So I might just keep playing that. Get some of that Bloodborne soundtrack, that's an option. Thoughts on the Black Ops 4 beta? Well, I have not played it, so... I'm hearing that people aren't enjoying it. I'm not surprised. I am holding out very little hope for Black Ops 4. And it's kind of disappointing because I used to look forward to the Treyarch Call of Duty games. But it seems like now they've just lost interest in innovating. I mean, do we need a Black Ops 4? You didn't even really need a Black Ops 3. 2 was the end of the story. But it's... Alright, should be back up. And now I've got some Bloodborne music. Now I've just got to figure out what I want to do. I think I want to try Portrait today. Samus is always the default, so I guess that's what they're doing, isn't it? I just want to start by blocking it out. Let's try and be fast and loose. This is probably good stuff to listen to because my book is supposed to be sort of like a little bit like I guess similar to this aesthetically. Kind of, not really, but kind of. I need some reference photos. Oh, damn it. I left the stream overlay on so you couldn't even see what I was doing. I'm supposed to be using the blue pen too. I've mentioned this. That's what they tell you should draw with a. I might use a thicker pencil too. Yeah, and that's good. Actually, that might still be too little. I think the reason why they tell you to use blue is because blue is a little bit easier to draw over. Like, it's a little bit easier to see what you're doing. That's too high up. Fuck. Actually, I boxed that in. I need to draw it again. But be a little bit more precise. He says whilst imprecisely drawing a circle. My plan for this one is I want to draw the image obviously first, and then I want to try doing some different techniques for coloring. I've been trying to pay attention to what other people do to see how they manage. Maybe you should do cover art for a video game. That's a good joke. How could I possibly be on the level where I'd be capable of doing cover art for a video game? Please don't demonetize the. I don't care about the monetization of the stream. It's not even going to be public at the end of it, because that's how I do it. I'm not fussed about that, actually. Demonetization does not mean that it's not accessible. The only reason to complain about it is money, that's a fair complaint. But I'd be more concerned about if a video of mine got taken down. Oh, I wasn't trying to chew into you for that whole, like, cover art for a video game thing. I thought you meant, like, professionally, which, I mean, of course not. Like, there's no way